The discussion in this video is on transients. As you see in this figure, transients are surges or spikes in electric currents and voltages which are transmitted through power or data lines. Transients can cause damage to electronic components, so we should be eliminating transients in any electronic circuit. Before we learn about transients, we have to understand what is meant by steady currents. Steady currents are those which flow in a circuit when connected to a DC generator or battery, or the alternating current which flows in the circuit. Why do we call these steady currents? These are called steady currents because the circuit components are constant. The second point is that the circuit has been connected to the generator long enough for any disturbance produced on initial switching to resolve itself. We'll discuss this point in detail in the coming sections. What it says is that as the distance from the generator increases, the transient dies out. That means that at the circuit end, what we will be getting is a steady current. So when are transient disturbances produced? Transient disturbances are produced whenever an apparatus or circuit is suddenly connected or disconnected from the supply. The second reason is a short circuit. And the third reason why a transient disturbance is produced is because of a sudden change in the applied voltage from one finite value to another. So these are the three reasons why transient disturbances can be produced. So in our discussion, we are going to see how transients are produced whenever different circuits are suddenly switched on or off from the power supply. We'll be learning about a circuit that contains a resistor inductor, a resistor capacitor combination, and a resistor inductor capacitor combination. And in each case, we will assume that the resultant current consists of two parts. The first part is a final steady stage or normal current, and the second part is a transient current superimposed on the steady stage current. And there will be no transient in pure resistive circuits. What could be the reason for this? The first point is that transient currents are not driven by any part of the applied voltage. And transients are entirely associated with the changes in the stored energy in inductors and capacitors. While studying electrodynamics in the previous semester, we have seen that energy is stored in inductors and capacitors, but energy will not be stored in a resistor. And for this reason, there are no transients in pure resistive circuits. We'll now discuss about the types of transients. Generally, we classify it into two: a single energy transient and a double energy transient. So what is a single energy transient? In the case of single energy transients, there is only one form of energy, either electromagnetic or electrostatic, that is involved in an RL and RC circuits. When we have both electromagnetic and electrostatic energies involved as in RLC circuits, such kind of transients are known as double energy transients. In this case, the energy will be stored both in the inductor and the capacitor. So that was a broader classification, and in this section, we'll see what are the other classifications of transients. The first one is initiation transients. So as the name suggests, these are produced when a circuit, which is originally dead, is energized. Then we have subsidence transients. So as the name suggests, these are produced when an energized circuit is rapidly de-energized and reaches an eventual steady stage of zero current or voltage, as in the case of short circuiting an RL or RC circuit suddenly. The third one is transition transient. And these transients are due to sudden but energetic changes from one steady state to another. Now we have what is known as a complex transient. A complex transient is produced in a circuit which is simultaneously subjected to two transients due to two independent disturbances, or when the disturbing force producing the transient is itself variable. And then we have relaxation transients. In these kind of transients, the transition occurs cyclically towards states which, when reached, become unstable themselves. We shall now begin our discussion on transients in various passive circuits. That is, we'll be discussing transients in RL circuits, RC circuits, and RLC circuits that are connected to a DC supply. The rest of this video discusses the growth and decay of currents in RL circuits. First, the growth of current in an RL circuit. This figure shows a series RL circuit that is excited by a battery of EMF E. Here L represents the self-inductance of a, and R is the sum of the coil resistance and the external resistances, if any. Let us assume that the current in the circuit at any time t after closing the switch K is IT. Now, the instantaneous EMF in the coil would be L times dI over dt. And this will oppose the driving EMF E. And hence, we can arrive at a differential equation in current, that is L dI over dt plus R times I equal to the total electromotive force in the circuit, that is E. So this equation is known as a Kirchhoff's voltage law equation, or KVL in short. Now let us rearrange this equation. When we rearrange this equation, we will get dI over E minus R times I equal to dt over L. In the next part, we are going to integrate this function. When we integrate this, we'll get negative of 1 over R natural logarithm E minus Ri equal to T over L plus C1. Here C1 is an integration constant, and we have to find out the value of C1. According to our assumption, at time t equal to 0, the current I is also equal to 0. And when we substitute this into this equation, we'll get C1 as equal to negative of 1 by R times natural logarithm of E. So let us call this as equation 1 and this as equation 2. And when we substitute 2 in 1, we will get natural logarithm of e minus Ri over e equal to negative of Rt over L, or 1 minus Ri over e raised to minus Rt over L. Or from here we can write the equation for the current as I equal to E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus R over L times T. And this equation gives the variation of current with time. Now we have to calculate the steady state current Is. The current reaches its steady state value when t becomes infinity. And we can find out the steady state current by substituting t equal to infinity in this equation. So when we do that, we have the steady state current as equal to E over R. That is, the steady state current depends only on the resistance in the circuit. Once we have the steady state current, we can calculate the transient current. And the transient current is total current minus steady state current. And the transient current is thus given by It equal to negative of E over R e raised to minus Rt over L. Now we are going to learn about an important parameter which is known as the time constant of the circuit. So we have seen that the current through the circuit is given by E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus Rt over L. And the steady state current is nothing but E over R. And from here we can write I as equal to Is times 1 minus e raised to minus Rt over L. When we plot the current versus time, the plot will be like this. So at time t equal to 0, the current is 0, and then it increases exponentially as you see in this figure. So what you see over here is E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus Rt over L. The curve exponentially grows from 0 and then reaches a steady state value which is E over R. And this is what is Is. Now let us introduce a new parameter tau which we define as L over R. This parameter has the dimension of time and is known as the time constant of the circuit. So in terms of the time constant, this equation can be written as I equal to Is times 1 minus e raised to minus t over tau. The steady state value has reached when t becomes infinity. And when t becomes infinity, the transient current will be equal to 0. And now let us analyze what happens when t becomes equal to tau. When t becomes equal to tau, we have I equal to Is times 1 minus 1 over e. And when we compute this, this will be equal to 0.63 times Is. So from this observation, we can define the time constant of the circuit as the time taken for the current to reach 0.63 or 63% of its final value. It is easy to see that the current rises to nearly 98% of its final value in approximately 4 times the time constant. That is, in this curve, if it is 98%, then this will be approximately 4 times tau. And by this time, that is approximately when time t equal to 4 times tau, the transient will be practically died out. And thus, the time constant measures the rapidity with which the final state is approached. The greater the L and the smaller the R, the larger the time constant. If the time constant is large, that means that it will take longer time to attain a steady state. Now we shall try to make an alternative definition for the time constant of the circuit. We have the current as given by E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus t over tau. So this equation defines this exponential curve. What we'll do is that we'll draw a tangent to this curve at t equal to 0. So when we draw that tangent, it will be like this. And we see that this tangent actually intersects this line E over R. The point of intersection is t equal to L over R. That is t equal to tau equal to L over R. Thus, the time constant can also be defined as the time in which the steady state would be reached if the current were allowed to increase at the initial rate. The time dependence of the voltage drop across the resistance R is given by VR, that is dependent on time, equal to R times IT. And this is equal to E times 1 minus E raised to minus t over tau. And this exponential variation is represented by this curve. Now the voltage drop across the inductor is given by VL T E minus VR T. And this is equal to E times e raised to minus t over tau. And the voltage drop across the inductance exponentially decays and is shown by this curve. Let us now try to work out this problem. A DC voltage of 80 volts is switched on to a circuit containing a resistance of 5 ohm in series with an inductance of 20 Henry. Calculate the rate of growth of current at the instant when the current is A 6 amperes and B 16 amperes. When a DC source voltage E is switched on to a series RL circuit at time t equal to 0, the current at a subsequent time t is given by I equal to E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus RT over L. Then from here we'll get di over dt as equal to E over L times e raised to minus RT over L. So this is a general equation for the rate of growth of current. And now we shall try to find out when does the current becomes 6 amperes and when does it become 16 amperes. So the equation for the current is E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus RT over L. And this equation gives us T as equal to L over R natural logarithm of E minus Ri and this is equal to 20 over 5 natural logarithm of 80 minus 5 times I. So in this equation we have substituted the values of L, R as well as E. So this gives us T as equal to 4 times 2.303 times log to the base 10, then 80 divided by 80 minus 5i. Now case A, when I equal to 6 amperes, time t equal to 4 times 2.303 times log to the base 10, 8 over 5. And this is equal to 1.88 seconds. Now the rate of growth of current is di over dt and this is equal to E over L times e raised to minus RT over L. This we have found out earlier and this is equal to 80 over 20 times e raised to minus 5 times 1.88 divided by 20. And this gives us 2.5 ampere per second. Now the part B, rate of growth of current at the instant when the current is 16 ampere. So before that, let us calculate the steady state current. So this is time and this is current and this is the steady state value, that is E over R. The current grows exponentially and then reaches the steady state value. And this is I equal to E over R 1 minus e raised to minus RT by L. So the steady state current is given by E over R and that is equal to 80 divided by 5 and that is equal to 16 amperes. So we see that the steady state current is 16 ampere. Now we have seen that 16 ampere is the steady state value of the current in the circuit. Since it is a steady state value, when we take the differential or the rate of change of di by dt, this will be equal to 0. Now problem number 2. A circuit of resistance 10 ohm and inductance 0.1 Henry in series has a direct voltage of 200 volt applied across it. Find the voltage drop across the inductance at the instant of switching on and at 0.01 second. Find also the flux linkage at these instants. Okay, so the problem has 3 parts. In the first part, we have to calculate the voltage drop across the inductance at the instant of switching on. And in the second part, we have to calculate the voltage drop at 0.01 second. And in the third part, we have to calculate the flux linkage at these instants. So part 1, switching instant. At the instant of switching on, the current I equal to 0, so that the potential drop across the resistor IR equal to 0. And so all the applied voltage must drop across the inductance only. Therefore, voltage drop across the inductance is equal to 200 volt. Since at this instant I equal to 0, there is no flux linkage of the coil. Now comes the second part. We have to calculate the voltage drop across the inductance at t equal to 0.01 second. As time passes, current grows so that the applied voltage is partly dropped across the resistance and partly across the coil. Let us find the IR drop first. For this, we need the value of the current at t equal to 0.01 second. The time constant of the circuit is tau equal to R by L, and this is equal to 0.1 over 10. This is equal to 0.01 second. Now we have the expression for the current as given by E over R, then 1 minus exponential minus RT over L, or this is equal to E over R times 1 minus e raised to minus t over 2. And this is equal to E over R 1 minus 1 by E. And this is equal to 200 over 10 times 0.632. And this is equal to 12.64 amperes. Now the potential drop across the resistor is IR, and that is equal to 12.64 times the value of the resistance is 10 ohm. That is equal to 126.4 volts. Now the drop across the inductor is equal to total voltage minus voltage across the resistor, and this is equal to 155 volts. This is because in the case of a RL circuit, the total reactance in the circuit is Z square equal to R square plus XL square, where XL is the reactance of the inductor. And then this is IZ the whole square equal to IR the whole square plus I times XL the whole square, where IR is the drop across the resistor and IXL is the drop across the inductor. And from here we can calculate the drop across the inductor as equal to supply voltage minus the drop across the resistor, that is IR. Now comes the final part, the flux linkage at this instance. The inductance is given by N times phi over I, where N is the number of turns of the inductor and phi is the associated flux. From here we'll get N phi as equal to L times I. And therefore the flux linkage is 0.1 times 12.64, and that is equal to 1.264 Weber's turns. Having discussed the growth of current in an RL circuit, our next attempt will be to formulate the decay of current in the RL circuit. So this figure shows a switch K2 that is initially open and switch K1 that is initially closed for a sufficiently long time so that the steady state has been reached in the series RL circuit. When the steady state has been reached, the steady state current is given by Is equal to E over R. After the attainment of the steady current, at time t equal to 0, the switch K1 is opened and simultaneously the switch K2 is closed. In the closed path ABCD, the driving EMF is 0. Thus, if IT is the current at time t in the closed path ABCD, then the Kirchhoff's voltage law for the path ABCD becomes L di over dt plus R times I equal to 0. And this gives us di over I as equal to negative of R divided by L times dt. Upon integration, we'll get the natural logarithm of I as equal to negative of R over L times T plus C2. Here C2 is the constant of integration and we need to find out what C2 is. For that we know that at time t equal to 0, the current I is given by Is, which is the steady state current, and this is equal to E over R. And when we substitute this into equation number 1, we'll get the natural logarithm of I over Is as equal to negative of R over L times T, or I is equal to Is times e raised to minus RT divided by L. Or this can again be written as I equal to E over R times e raised to minus R over L times T. This represents the decay of current in the series RL circuit after the sudden removal of the driving EMF. This figure shows the decay of current over time. That is I equal to E over R times e raised to minus R over L times T. The time constant as before is defined to be tau equal to L over R. We see that at time t equal to tau, which is equal to L over R, I is equal to Is over E, or this is equal to 0.37 times Is. Thus, the time constant L over R is the time taken by the current to decay to 0.37 or 37% of its initial value. And the current decreases to nearly 2% of its initial value in 4 time constants. The transient thus practically dies out in 4 time constants. As before, the time constant gives the rapidity of the decay of current. Smaller the value of the inductor and greater the resistance, the quicker will be the decay of the current. Let us try to formulate an alternate definition for the time constant of the LR circuit. So this is the decay current. Now at t equal to 0, drop a tangent to this curve. So that goes like this and intersects the x-axis at tau. Thus, the time constant may also be viewed as the time in which the current would decay to zero if it was allowed to decrease at the initial rate, that is, the rate that was there at time t equal to 0. Now, the voltage drop across the resistance at any instant during the decay of the current is given by VR t equal to R times I, which is a function of t, and this is equal to E times e raised to minus R over L times t. The voltage drop across the inductor is VLT equal to negative of VRT, and that is equal to negative of E times e raised to minus R over L times t. So this figure shows the variation of VR and this figure shows the variation of VL. The negative sign in the equation for the voltage drop across the inductor indicates that VL is opposite to that assumed in the analysis. So this part is an additional note. Have you ever thought why sparks appear in the switch when we switch off domestic appliances like electric fans? Let us try to understand the reason. So this was the series RL circuit that we have been discussing. There are two keys, K1 and K2. K1 is used to charge the circuit and K2 is used to discharge the circuit. If at t equal to 0, only the switch K1 is opened and switch K2 is not simultaneously closed, the effective resistance of the circuit becomes very large due to the introduction of the air gap between the contacts of the switch K1. Hence, the time constant L over R of the circuit becomes very small, resulting in a very rapid rate of decay of the current. The resulting back EMF L di over dt is thus very large. A very large voltage thus momentarily appears across the contacts of the switch. As the separation between these contacts is very small, at the instant of switch off, a very large potential gradient or electric field is momentarily developed across the contacts of the switch. The insulation of the air gap between the contacts may then break down, causing electric sparks to appear on switch off. This is the reason why sparks appear in the switches when we turn off domestic appliances like electric fans.